I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
Yeah, what's up? It's Monday, so it's not trash night, but it is. It is one of a kind with a certain someone, and that is the true. He's
Rob
not.
Van Dam.
Yeah, that's right. RVD. baby.
We should start doing that on the regular so all the good people can have the joy of doing that with us, you know?
I know, right? Just get it, make it like a communal effort here, a communal thing going on. And hey, we kind of are a communal thing because we're live.
Maybe change the intro to from Battle Creek, Michigan.
Ooh, we could do something. I could mix it up. Yeah, you know what? We're due for a new intro. We got a new logo, so I might as well implement a new intro. Why the heck not? That'll be my project this week. Is a new intro.
Cool. I mean, the who is it? Guess who? I mean,
Guess who?
people still love that.
I know.
Yes, every week, but sometimes you got to change it up.
Sometimes you got to switch it up a little bit. Yes, just a touch. Rob, how you doing, man? You're in an undisclosed location right now.
Yeah, busy week, so I won't have the wife or the black dog or the brown dog with me on tonight's episode. So, heads up, no Barbie or Lovey or Katie for tonight. But we're gonna do this make a little makeup show because I was busy traveling last week and this week as well. But we're gonna get a quick little show in, and then if you want to do it in our regular spot, if we have a regular spot, then that would be Thursday, which looks good from here to me this week. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, works for me for sure.
Cool.
Do that.
Cool.
We will plan for Thursday night. And then, but yeah, we're going to do a short one here, but we did want to go live and make sure we interact with a lot of you folks. So we got Frankish Rizzo in the chat. He already says RVDology helped quite a bit. Can't live in the past because it was last episode that we did. He was asking about that stuff. And so
he was asking about advice on regret.
Yes.
You know, and something that I don't know exactly what I said, but to repeat my thoughts on it, regret is definitely a negative energy. So recognize, nobody talks about regret in a good way, like, oh yeah, I regret those good times, Yeah, it's not like that. It's like
right.
it's something you can't do nothing about. Regret is wanting to change the past. And if you have any form of regret that's not trying to change the past, then you could argue with me that maybe it's a good thing. But otherwise, it's a wasted energy that can accomplish nothing except for, deeper thoughts. If you want to spend time thinking about something in the past, then that's certainly cool. But when you regret, then you actually have a feeling of remorse and wishing you could have that time back, which you can't. You just can't.
Would you say
you just can't, Dom? You can't have the past back.
So many people live in the past, and
no matter how nice you ask for it, it ain't coming back.
It ain't coming back. I know there's so many people that do live in the past. I think it's such a hard thing for people to escape out of. And I know I was in an environment, I grew up in an environment where a lot, like my dad especially, was an example of wanting to live in the past all the time. And it's tough to shake if you're used to doing that. And if you look back on things, you got to keep looking forward. And sometimes it's easier said than done. But yeah, like you're right. Would you say, though, a positive way to turn regret is as a chip of motivation almost?
Well, I mean, you can use, obviously, the past is there to learn from. Mm-hmm. So, now you're talking about, can you look at the past to shape the direction of your future? Absolutely. Don't make the same mistakes again. Don't make the same choices again that you made before, that left you with that feeling of regret. That's really all you can do. And thank God we do have a past to keep us from making the same mistakes, and we have a base to grow from. You know, I'm all the time looking at my reactions to things or conversations I've had, whether it's 2 years ago or 20 years ago. There's still things in my head, and it's like when it pops up, it's cringy. Like, oh, I can't believe I said that, man. I don't even know what that meant. Why did I say that? Why was I just repeating what someone else said to me? Like, how old was I? What a dork. You know, and I don't let go of those. They stay there, but they don't. But they don't. You know, shed negative energy on my today. You know, just for that instant thought. Like when you think of it, boom, you get that feeling that's associated with it, and it's a cringe. You know, that's what we learn from. That's how we grow, and that's how we always are improving. So let's be thankful for that.
Yeah, amen to that for sure. One of the funniest regrets I kind of have that still kind of hits me pretty good is when I was in Philly, I was in the one of the Rocky movies, and I was like on set in the main, like, and Stallone was like standing right beside me, like 6 feet by me, basically. And I got to interact with him a little bit and everything like that. And he like joked around with me and everything. And I always in my head, there was a moment where I could have introduced and chatted up with him a little bit, and I never did it. And I was like, fuck, I missed that opportunity. I fucking missed it. And like sometimes it still hits me like I should have just took the moment, but I was trying to be a professional on set and not interact with the actors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was doing, and so it always kind of hits me sometimes. But then at the same time, too, I'm just like, you know, it was neat to have that interaction at the same time too. I'm like, maybe someday I'll get to interview him or something like that, and then I can make it work out that way too. So it's a good motivator.
And maybe you will. You know that. That reminds me specifically of a regret of mine. I've told the story on here before about my interaction with Miss Pamela Anderson, but it's definitely worth going back. It's a quick story. You know, I don't know, Frankie Tizero, Frankie, you say his last name.
Frankie Turizo. That's how I say it. Turizo.
Don't know if Frankie's heard this or not, or anybody else, but this is definitely something I go back. I cringe when I think about like what an a-hole I was, and I wasn't trying to be, but way back. Let's go back to 1997. I was a guest star on her TV series called VIP. And it was a cool part, you know. I got to play this bad guy army dude that crashed on an island years ago, and he's been living there. And it was a cool character. I had all these weapons and stuff. That was part of the thing. But I never thought about Pam having me on her show. I mean, she was executive producer. And you know, I'm sure they had a guest starring role. Maybe somebody thought about let's get a wrestler to play that part, or whatever. I don't know. Either way, I definitely should have thanked her. Should have been, and it's Pam Anderson. I should have kissed her ass anyway. But on that day, like I had to get up really early to go to the set, and on the drive there, they were talking about her, and it had nothing to do with me, but I kind of got motivated by the conversation, and it was about her and Tommy Lee. They were going through a divorce, and she was the story was that she had claimed that he drank champagne with her months ago, and so that somehow was a violation of his status, to where she was going to get the kids instead of him because of that. Something small like that, and I say small, had nothing to do with me, but when I got there, that was fresh on my mind. You know, I was just thinking, man, she stooged on him for something that happened months and months before, you know, and use that against him. Use that against him that they were having a champagne together. And that's how I saw it. And anyway, I was in the makeup chair at the same time that she was. So we're in the trailer together, and she's right next to me. And also, I was green as grass when it comes to acting. This was like one of the very first parts I got. So I wasn't experienced when it comes to knowing who all is on the set, like getting familiar with those same makeup people that I worked with a bunch of people times, or the director, executive producers, everything, the whole crew, and what it takes to make the production wasn't on my mind. I'm thinking, this is going to be cool. I'm just going to be RVD and it'll come across cool like it always does, which is my attitude instead of learning the parts or really getting into the acting, especially at that stage. But so I'm sitting there and they're doing my hair or whatever, and I didn't say one word to her, even think about talking to her. I was just like, cool, there's Pam Anderson in the chair next to me. We're just both actors here, getting ready to do our thing. Whatever. She had hair curlers in, whatever. It was just early in the morning. I didn't even think of talking to her, but looking back at it, of course I should have. And she went out of her way to extend her hand. No, first she said, "Rob Van Dam," like and I just I just did like an immature little, little giggle or whatever, and that should have been my cue to be like, "Oh, hey Pam, nice to meet you." Still didn't do it. And she finally rolled her eyes and extended her hand and said, "Hi, I'm Pam." And I was like, "Hey, Rob Van Dam, nice to meet you." And I didn't get it. I didn't get it until way later, maybe years later, thinking back on it. And now when I think back at it, it's a cringing moment because, I was an asshole. And if I was Pam, I would think that I was an asshole, at least at that moment. I mean, we did some lines and had a little interaction while we were filming, but no personality, no gratefulness, no sign of appreciation from me, nothing. Just a wrestler that that's there to try to do an acting part, and that's how I look at that when I look back at it. Like something you can learn from, you know.
Mhm.
But when I look back at it, it's like, oh, like I can't imagine like if somebody asked her, like, did you meet? What was it like working with Rob Van Dam? I don't know. Maybe she doesn't even remember it. But in my mind, that's, I definitely regret that I didn't just, hey Pam, hey, thank you so much for having me on the show, man. This is awesome. We're gonna have fun. Boom. That goes a long way.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I know. How much too does when you have those interactions, you look back and there's that kind of regret or cringe to it? Are you more focused on how you acted in that moment or how that person might feel about you ultimately?
I think it's more how I feel about that person that was me, because I've grown so much since then that I don't recognize that as being one of my natural feelings now, and that's why it's I want to regurgitate it, but it doesn't sink in with me. Like that's not the me that I know now. You can go back and hey, there was a time when I peed the bed. I regret that too, but I was however how old you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
you start out really needing to learn a few things, some couth, some culture, some morals, and the further you go back, you can always find some stuff where you're like, damn, I was stupid back then, like
Right.
yeah.
I know we all have that too.
But
Man.
I think it's more how I feel about. It's not a proud moment, I guess between thinking of how I acted and thinking how she felt, thinking about how she would have felt is definitely a worse feeling than me, because I was just
Yeah. Yeah.
like nothing. So it wasn't like I was thinking I hate this bitch or anything like that.
Right.
But mostly it's my disapproval of the younger me, which is a constant when you're improving.
Right. And like the thing too, I think you talked about this last week, or I know we've talked about it plenty of times before, is how much you appreciate getting older because you learn about yourself more so, and you
I would
develop.
not go back in time, and I think that most people would. I guess from hearing other people talk, hearing what they say, my understanding, my impression is that most people, at least I don't know, maybe over 30 or 40, I feel like most of the people seem like they would want to go back in time if they could. Like I feel like that's supposed to be part of life. Like that's what's presented to us is that you regret that you can't go back, but you can't, and so you live with that regret. What people said, if only I could go back and know what I know now. And yeah, it'd be great to go through fifth grade with my education right now. I'd get all A's. I'd be, I'd be a genius. I'd go through everything. But yeah, at the same time, like for me, I feel like I'm more, like I develop more the longer I'm alive, and in more important ways. Like it used to seem more important, 30 years ago to keep adding 5 or 10 pounds to my bench every couple of weeks if I could. Now, not so important in the overall growth, and so there's other areas that stand out that are way more important, or at least seem so prospectively right now, and that has a lot to do with the cerebral growth. Even though I did read a bullshit article that said I had cerebral atrophy. It was a bullshit documentary on concussions that's on YouTube right now, and they just made that part up just for for no reason. I think I mentioned that before when I found that documentary. But anyway, yeah. I mean, some people probably don't believe me. They probably think that I'm just, oh yeah, you go back if you could, but I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to go back. I wouldn't want to go through the losses again that I've
Mm-hmm.
gone through.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Even though when you weigh it out, you would have the gains before the losses, and you get to relive them. But that's not the natural way, so it makes it easy to just weigh out, in that way. But yeah, I'm always excited about the future. Still am,
Yeah,
I want to keep
absolutely.
going the direction I'm going.
Yeah, no doubt about it too. No, it's an exciting time too. I saw some great pictures of Katie today too, and like it's really cool for you guys. So
She's swelling up.
yeah, right,
She's
right.
big. She measures her stomach like 3 or 4 times a day, just to check for growth. She's so happy and so excited. It's really awesome to see, to experience this, to see what this does, And hey, there's always been a lot of hype about it. Now I see why.
Yeah, right, man. Yeah, I bet it had you getting into this situation and like being an expecting father and everything like that. What your expectations going into it? What is different about it being into it in comparison to the expectations you have? Does that make sense? That question.
I'm not sure what difference between what now.
The difference between your expectations of like maybe in your mind before knowing you were going to be becoming a father to now when you're living in the moment, what has been really different for you than what your expectation was before knowing about it?
Well, the first thing is that there's not a lot different right now. I would have thought that in preparing to be a father, that my mindset would be different, that I would be thinking like a parent, like a father. And so far, the biggest difference is the happiness, the joy from everybody. It's like everyone, fans, family, everyone is like so happy and excited for us, and in a different way, and that's really cool. That's the biggest difference, and Katie's belly swelling up, and that's pretty different. But it's like I still, my mindset still is like, I'll believe it when I see it. I will know when I'm there what it feels like, but I can't really imagine yet. I've always said I can't imagine like holding a little human and looking into its eyes, looking back at you, and thinking that's part you, like you created that. I've always said that, and I don't feel any different right now. I feel like even though right now Katie's pregnant, I still can't imagine that feeling. Like
Wow. Yeah.
I'll get, I'll learn what that's like on the spot when it happens, and it's exciting, but I still can't. I still can't really imagine. I'm still just like, wow. It's like there's just me and you, like, and our dogs living here, but pretty soon we're gonna have two other people living with us for a long time, maybe forever, that we don't even know yet. We don't even know these people. They're gonna be living here. Like what?
Who let these people in?
I just am faithful that everything's gonna be really natural and organic because it always is, and that's how it's been so far.
Yeah. No, it's really cool to see the happiness that's going around, how happy Katie is for everything, and it's just neat to see and check that out too. So
Yeah.
very happy for you guys. Here's a good question from Frankie Terrizzo, and I'm going to learn from this too, Rob. So Frankie asks, tips on staying durable and limber after age 40. I just turned 40 in June, so I'm curious about that too, Rob.
Well, I mean, it's hard to not sound redundant here because I still feel like stretching is as important as ever. You know, um, it's not as important in an everyday life of someone if they're not wrestling or doing something very physical. Then it's much more important because then you're keeping yourself from getting hurt and getting injured and doing as much as you can to protect that. So it's harder to do it when you're just a normal dude and you're just trying to fit in an hour to get to the gym anyway on your schedule. But when it comes to being durable, I think it's stretching and it's conditioning. Conditioning obviously gets you durable, and there's specific conditioning for certain certain goals. Like for instance, if you want shins that are indestructible, you take a rolling pin and you roll up and down on your shin and you press on it, and while it's pressing down and squeezing on your skin, it's also pressing down all these nerve endings, and you'll find it hurts, but the more you do it, the less it hurts, and then your shins actually get stronger. If say you're kickboxing and you're going to be taking, you're going to be kicking and people are going to be blocking with their elbows, and you want to condition yourself. That's just an example. Conditioning could be condition yourself to sleep less or to sleep more, or whatever it is that you want for your life, for your goals. But when it comes to the age thing, I don't really do a lot different. I just think like I got to stay on top of myself more because the job isn't there to stay on top of me as much. When I'm wrestling 240, 250 times in a year, that's a lot of stretching that I'm doing because I'm paid to be there at this building. You got to be somewhere. And here I am at an arena, and I got to wrestle in several hours. So that's what I'm doing with my time. But then, if I'm only wrestling a couple times a year or something like that, I gotta find a way to stay on top of myself. And that is kind of like where I'm at, where I like to just stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And I have the lifestyle that is built for that. Everything in my house and everything is so that I don't have to leave home, and I can keep myself in the best condition instead of becoming a couch potato that used to wrestle, that let himself go or something like that. So I think when you're 20, when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're 50. just keep going, just keep crushing it, keep grinding, whatever it is that you have found that you like to do by this time in life. I mean, if you're 40, you've already tried some different exercises, some different workouts, routines, whatever. If you got some stuff that you like that's been working for you, I say stick with it. I don't think that over. I mean, you'll naturally, the more injuries you get, you'll do a little less weight and more reps or whatever. Or maybe you're like Navajo Warrior and you're powerlifting in your 50s, lifting heavier weight than you ever lifted your whole life. And look at him, he's like a monster, big dude. You know Navajo Warrior?
No, I don't know Navajo. I'm gonna pull him up.
Okay, yep. Longtime friend from the West Coast. He's from Arizona. He's having his last match this weekend.
Wow,
Actually.
really? So
Yeah.
he's a wrestler.
Maybe it was last night. Actually, it could have been this weekend was his last match because we left some videos for him. But anyway, the dude. Anyway, he's my age, and I've known him forever. He used to wrestle, and then when I was in WWE, and they needed me to help them with the video games, like I need to go and do scans or whatever. Boom, there's Navajo Warrior working for THQ. And I'm like, dude, how did you do that, bro? How'd you go from being a wrestler to being a high up dude in the video game department? Like, how's that happen? And now, and then he did that for quite a while, for years. He was the guy that would come in to the arena and get the wrestlers, to do the scans and all that stuff and be the go-between. Super cool dude. And if you follow him on Instagram now, you'll see him like pulling cars and boats and trucks and stuff like that, strongman contest stuff. And like I said, he's my age, so I don't think that specifically you change your routine for endurance, durability, or even just for overall fitness. I think that no matter where you're at in life, you just see what works for you.
Right. You get tailored too. If like Frankie followed up, he said, I used to train martial arts, but I'm so stiff I couldn't imagine working the heavy bag, and I feel like I'd break a bone if I took a throw. So
well, then you got to start. I mean, if you do want to hit a heavy bag and your body's too stiff to even hit it, then I mean, obviously you got to start somewhere, some aerobics, some stretching.
Yeah.
Maybe roll around on the ground a little bit if you're afraid that taking a throw is going to break you. I mean, some people are fragile and some people are built tough and durable. That's when it comes to durability. I've always thought that that's more of a genetic gift. And like I said, you can work on it. There's conditioning. We all do it. But it's something that like some people are just made really tough. They don't seem to get hurt. Other people seem to be made of glass. And no matter what they do to try to circumvent that problem, it always seems to pop up throughout life. They're always breaking things, and maybe they're the guy with the glass jaw that gets knocked out, But if you had it and you lost it, then I think you can get it back, man. I was talking to DDP recently.
Yeah.
At our baby shower about this very same thing, and he was like, are you still doing the splits? Are you still doing it? And I said, well, I mean, it's been a little while now because my feet, when my heels are broke, there's not a comfortable position. I can't put my weight on them or whatever. And I think I can force it if I put them up on the chairs, but it's hard to drop down until my feet heal. And he said, it might take a little while, but you can get it back. It might take a while. And I'm like, you know what? I believe that guy. I've seen this guy do so much good. Butterbean, same age as me. Yeah. Did you watch, by the way, have you seen his new show?
No, Butterbean.
No, so it's DDP's show. It's on, I believe it's on Hulu, but
it's on I think it's
No?
on Tubi. I think it's on Tubi.
Yeah, same thing. Those two
Yeah,
channels. Tubi. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Tubi.
I knew when I said that, I was like, I might be wrong. So, okay, but anyway, great show. We loved it. It's very much in the respect of the resurrection of Jake the Snake. You know, it's a lot like that. But he's got in his house there, he's got a few normal people, and he's got Buff Bagwell there. And anyway, it's really good. It's really good, and you learn, you see people that look hopeless. Like, fuck yeah, that guy's hopeless. He can't do shit. Look at him. And then you see them eventually grow, get better. There's one kid that in there that's like, whew, he's so big, you know, like I don't know, 500 and some pounds, like thick, and they start him out so slow, you know, like he's got to walk around the house, and however many breaks he has to take to stop and sit in a chair. Well, we work on that, you know. We try and do it, tomorrow or next time go further, and then eventually, you know, he's like, I don't need a chair, and you see him like getting all this confidence. And same thing with Butterbean. He's on there too, and man, Butterbean needs a new hip, and his back is so bent. Every time he gets up, he's bent over like so far. So far, it's like sad seeing that he can't even stand anywhere near straight up. But then DDP's working with him, and he got his surgery. And man, just you start out slow if you have to. You
Mm-hmm.
find out where your starting point is, and then you try and improve on it. And man, I don't. Well, I don't care. I'll give you a spoiler. Butterbean standing up at the end of it, man. It was just made me so happy. And I think it will anybody that watches that to see him at the end, to see his posture change and everything. And he just had faith in DDP. And I've asked DDP, I'm like, what about like arthritis? You know what I mean? Like when Jake couldn't even get down, you know, without screaming his arthritis hurt. And I asked, you know, DDP, because I think arthritis isn't that just something that's just always going to be there. It's like cartilage that kind of hardens and turns to bone and grows in weird places where you get stiff and you don't want it there, but you got to live with it, right? And DDP has a belief that you break up the scar tissue and you work your way through it. He's always said that. And I'll be damned if he doesn't always prove it. When it comes to that, you know, starting out small, you know, one step at a time. I heard something that I thought it motivated me, and I thought if I say it, maybe anybody listening, maybe Frankie, maybe this could be inspiring to you. But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And so, Frankie, too, if you have experience of doing the kickboxing and all that stuff, yeah, just ease your way back into it. Like take the one step to get back into it, see where your level's at.
And it's discouraging because it didn't used to hurt like it hurts now, and it didn't used to be as much work. But you know what? You'll also find some encouraging moments too if you keep at it.
Oh,
Where
right.
fuck yeah, man! I feel like my old self again. I'm getting back there, and then little gains, you know, with my feet. You know, I broke both heels in April, and the first 4 or 5 weeks I couldn't even stand up on them. You know, so I was crawling everywhere. And then eventually, you know, I got a wheelchair, this and that. But it's just even with that, like little things, you know, because first I couldn't wear any shoes, and then I got some orthopedic shoes, and I could wear them with big padding in it. And then eventually, I worked down to where I was able to take the padding out of it, and then eventually I was able to get back into my old shoes without the padding as the swelling went down. And every little thing just feels like a milestone. Like yes. Going downstairs is still hard without going sideways or backwards. You know, going down regularly. That's you know, little things like that. Each time you're able to do something that you haven't done in a long time, you know that you're on the right track and that you're getting better, and it's really encouraging. It's a really big bolt of good energy when you can just say, boom, yes, I've crossed another line and I'm not going back.
Yeah. Man, how awesome is DDP too? I think about I literally like Marcus, my brother, he helps out DDP with the social media aspect of things. So he interacts with DDP on the regular. And literally, Marcus and I were talking last week about like Marcus mentioned, like, dude, DDP, he's like, it might like get annoying or like nauseum to people that hear it all the time, but like DDP's right in the fact of like you manifest things to happen. And he's like, and if you thinking about a positive mindset, you have a positive mindset and you envision it, stuff will happen for you. And like he's like, and Marcus is like, I firmly believe it. I think DDP's spot on with it all too. And I always just think that's how do you feel about like manifestation and all that too, Rob?
Oh, totally. I manifested my whole life, and I still do.
Yeah.
I use the word all the time,
Mm-hmm.
manifesting. Sometimes it's a bit of a joke, but like we'll be on the road and I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna manifest a Cracker Barrel. I want a hotel right next door to a Cracker Barrel with a gym by it, and I think stuff like that. And sometimes it works out, sometimes not, but when it does, it feels pretty good. Like, whoa, but the way the DDP puts it, and I think I can repeat it in his words, which makes a lot of sense. Whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you're right.
Wow. I like that. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smoke. That's deep. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, dude, and it's so true, man. If you think you can't do something, then you can't. You are going to be keeping yourself from being able to do that because you think that you can't do that. And also, if you want to get a little deeper into it, I think that we're equipped with knowing what we can do. Can I fly like Superman? No, I can't do that. So of course I don't think that I can. If I thought I could do something like that, but I really can't, then I'd be crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
A healthy mind has the balance and I know what I can do and what I can't do. And stuff that you wonder about, then you experiment, you test, whatever, when it comes to testing yourself. But still, if you got that, I can do this, then you can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And like so many people have that used to thinking negative or anything, and everything gets tripped up about it. And, to get into that mindset of like, yeah, if I envision it and I believe it'll happen, like chances are I'm capable of having it happen. So I like it. I like it, Rob. We have a super chat here from Mackenzie. Thank you for the $5.
Hey, Mackenzie.
She says, when I was going through Crazy Tights, getting references of attires of yours, I saw you were at Triple Mania 19. What was it like working that show? Do you remember working Triple Mania 19, Rob?
I believe Triple Mania 19 was my debut in Mexico.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so if that's the show that I think it is, it was cool. It was awesome to go there after hearing from all the boys talking about, Mexico City and everything I heard about it. I met Teddy Hart down there. I remember that because the stories that he was telling me. And the toilets there you don't flush. At least that's how it was there. You don't flush papers in the toilet. So there's actually like a trash can bucket beside the toilet for you to put your shit paper in.
What?
Can't forget that. That's all.
No.
Yeah. And I'd heard about it before. I'd heard it, and I'm like, oh my God, that's true. Because like everyone that wrestled down there told me that. And yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Pretty gross. But before that, I had been talking to Mexico about going down there, and just like any kind of business talks, you talk about the business and the money of it. And so we were talking about that, whether they could afford my fee or not. And then when I signed up with TNA in 2010, they had 75 matches a year that they could book me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way that's ideal. I had 3 years 75 matches each year, and they chose to take one of those matches and book me in Mexico.
Really?
So by doing that, because I had a deal with TNA where I would get paid so much for 75 matches, obviously in a more matches like that, you're gonna come down a little bit on your per night to make it work. Just like with WWE, you got 250 matches each night, you're getting kicked in the balls, but then it adds up.
Yeah.
But when you're just working one-offs, then that's the opposite. And so the reason I'm explaining this is just for me. When I did go down there to Mexico, I went down there for a regular weekly payday that I was getting from TNA instead of the money that I was talking to them about. So that was on my mind, um, which it's fair and everything, but on the business end, it was something that I'll remember. Hey, I was talking about them coming there for this much, then TNA sent me there, and they only got to pay me this much per night. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
besides that, I wrestled Wagner, Dr. Wagner,
Oh, yeah, Dr. Wagner. Yeah.
Junior or Dr.
Probably
Wagner.
was Junior, I think. I think it was
Yeah,
Junior. You
yeah, I
probably
think so too. Even though I think
he's
older
older.
than me, he's a junior, right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's a junior, but he's older.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that was cool, because I learned right away that the prestige that came with that guy's reputation, and people were excited that I wrestled Dr. Wagner Jr.
I know Junior.
And it was cool, I mean, I remember the arena. And by the way, another thing, this, if my memory serves me right, which I'm 99% sure right now, this was my first and only time in a hectagon ring. Yeah, because
Really?
when I joined TNA, they had already switched to
They
the
already switched
four-sided
it.
ring in 2010, and so I was never in that six-sided ring. But Triple Mania, I was in that six-sided ring, and that was the first and only time for me, which was fine. It really didn't. It didn't seem to throw me off at all. Like you still go to hit the ropes and there's a solid side there. It was just a little different when you're climbing up in the corner, I guess. Um, but there you have it. That's how it was for RVD working Triple Mania.
How about that? That's pretty neat. Like that's interesting too, because I would have maybe thought that you worked a six-sided ring in TNA, but no, it makes sense because Hogan did switch it out. I remember that was being a big thing about it when he came in and Bischoff came in. So pretty neat, pretty neat. Hey Rob, we also have some breaking news. John Cena just won the Intercontinental Championship from Dom Mysterio. This is the first time he's ever won the Intercontinental title.
Oh,
Cena
nice.
had. So now he's won every title in WWE ever, basically. He's like the super duper. So.
Good thing he came back and righted that wrong.
Exactly. Corrected course, everybody.
Yeah. Way to go, John.
Way to go, brother. It's in Boston right now, too. In Boston. So good to see. I'm excited to see what they do with it. He's only got a few more dates left, and that's it. That's it for it.
Yeah, it's like the middle of December or what?
Yeah, December 17th or 15th, I think.
Yeah.
And it's in DC. There's speculation that Trump might be there. I don't know, but could be a pretty big night. It's gonna be a big night for sure.
I wish you had a little longer. I wish things could have worked out to coordinate. Getting some of that retirement tour action. But everything happens for a reason.
That's it. That's it. I know they're doing that tournament for him. The last times now tournament, I think it's called or something. But they're having a hodgepodge of wrestlers in it that like from his yesteryear in it. So Sheamus is in it. Rusev, who he's fought before, is in it. And they're having a couple of surprises too. I know people would probably want to be like, "Damn, I'd love to see RVD in that too."
Is that the one you're talking about in December? The last
Yeah, so they're having a tournament, and whoever wins the tournament, that'll be seen as last match is going to be the winner of that tournament.
Oh, nice.
Mhm. So it's a pretty neat idea for Cena and WWE to
Yeah,
do that. To
that is
like,
cool.
yeah, pretty neat, pretty neat. All right, we'll only do a couple more things here, and then we'll close it out. Here's a good question. I like this one, Rob. Do as you're told. Yeah, thank you. He says, how often per week do you come across a basic thinker while out?
Well, how often in a week? Well, as little as possible. I try to avoid conversations with that, but I think that we're all basic thinkers sometimes. Sometimes we choose, to, or we're just not thinking, or, we're tired or hadn't thought it through or whatever. I mean, there's lots of times I could say, like, hey, wait a minute, we're so and so right there. Like, oh, and it makes me feel like I wasn't really thinking about, or how are we going to get to whatever? And they're going, could you have the car? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I wasn't thinking about those at the same time. We're all guilty of that, which is what's great with me and Katie is like we have like an unwritten rule that like no question is too stupid. Like we don't
Yeah,
make each other feel stupid. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
sometimes we want to ask something that might not be that smart. Could be anything, but we're never like ha ha, look at you, duh. Like we don't do that. I've had relationships like that before, and it's so much better when you both like really respect each other and just want to help each other find the answer. It's like it's unexplainable, like because I hadn't had that before.
yeah.
But anyway, I try to avoid them when they're like I got one guy that like every single time I talk to him, we end up in the same routine where we obviously don't respect each other's opinion because we both are talking complete opposites, and everything I say he's got to come up with the opposite as if my thoughts have to be reconsidered or whatever. And it's so annoying. I realize that I hate the motherfucker, and I feel so much better after realizing that, because every time I would go weeks and weeks not talking to him, and then when I would talk to him, I'd end up, and it makes me so mad that I'm mad for hours and hours after talking to him. And anyway, just recently we had our last talk because he doubles down on purpose when he thinks something's bothering me, doubles down, and then delivers to remind me of why I hate him so much, and he just proves how much. And I'm just like, you know what? People grow apart. That's cool.
That's fine.
We grew apart. We grew apart. Fuck off. And he's been my inspiration every single time I've talked about a basic thinker. I was thinking about a conversation that I had with him every time.
Every time.
Yes.
That's great. It's like that. Yeah, it's like Jerry Seinfeld and Newman in Seinfeld, where he's like, "Hello, Newman." It's like that completely.
We're all guilty of sometimes, like not using 100% of our brain or being silly or whatever. But some people, that's all they got. They only have the ability to think one thought at a time, and it's only about how everything affects them.
Affects
Like
them. Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
all they can think about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those people are, I mean, they're primed up to be sociopaths. First off, I mean, go around murder people, you know, kill little kids, do whatever because just got to worry about how it affects you. Maybe hide the body so you don't get caught. I mean,
Right.
what kind of crazy, sick, depraved mindset can people have to do some of the things that they do? But then when you get these basic thinkers and you really understand that they can only think of one thing at a time, and it's only about how everything affects them, then you can understand how somebody could get to be a sociopath, you know, especially if they have some really bad things that they're into, you know, like kids or like violence or like, I don't know, worshiping Satan, whatever. There's people that are like really mindful and that seem to analyze and think and study a lot, and there's people in between. But man, having a conversation with people that can only think one thought and their mouth is almost always exposing how dumb they are. Those are not my company, you know, not my company. In fact, everybody that was watching that thought that I must be on Roger's side and that I must hate Stu. I don't even want you guys being my fans anymore. That's how much it bothers me that you guys are that stupid. Because if that's not by choice, then I don't get it. Because how can you not hear reason? How
Yeah.
can you not hear reason when it's like, hey, there is no sides. You guys made up sides. There never was sides. What about that? Nope. Nope. All I know was you're a piece of shit. Hey, go talk to each other, please.
Please.
Leave
Get
me
a
out.
circle together.
Miss me with that shit.
I'm curious too. When people do that shit online, I'm curious how sincere they are about it, or if they're just trying to needle people too. At the
Right. There's a lot of that too. Like
Mhm.
I said, I responded to like two, and both of them, you know, turned right around. You know, like,
Right.
oh no, I didn't mean anything. I hope you didn't take that personally. Like, the
Yeah.
fuck? Are you kidding? But anyway, yeah, that's a lot. You know, people don't think they're talking to somebody real, so they don't expect to get through or for that person to acknowledge them. Definitely not to get an answer. But yeah, that's always been the case. Like whenever I've had somebody say something heelish over the years, you know, whatever it is, it could just be RVD sucks, and I could just be like, oh yeah, and I'll be like, oh hey, I'm just kidding, man. You're my favorite wrestler. Like why put that out there then? Like
Yeah.
why even like throw shit out there with the chance that it might hurt somebody. And I don't know, they're probably not thinking that it's that hurtful, but it's not helpful. I mean, you know, when you break it down to the most simplistic of terms, what are you doing? Something good or something bad?
Right. Right. I think so much people are looking for validation or attention. Yeah. And then once they get it, they're like, oh man, he actually said something to me. I don't. Yeah, I'm a big fan. That kind of thing. You
Yeah,
know?
no, that is true too. Just
Mhm.
if I was everybody's parent, I wouldn't have them on such a negative um, page to to think of it better. I just think that people don't think about it as much, you know, and so they're just as happy writing insults. Hey, Trump's a piece of shit. I wish you would have died when you got, you know, who else can I write that I hate to? And they just send hate, and now you're surrounded with hate, and you don't have any friends because guess why? Because you're hateful and also you're hateable. And it's just like, I mean, it starts with your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Like
And
you
you
were
know,
saying about just like you were saying about manifesting, and yes, I totally believe that. That's why
Mhm.
I don't get it why people are so uh comfortable being miserable.
Right. Yeah. And you know what, too? If you're doing all that stuff online, especially on like something like a platform like X, and you're getting it, I was just talking to a buddy about this. Is like X just feeds you, Twitter just feeds you some negative algorithm stuff sometimes, and so it's what you're inundated with. And then on top of it, if you're being negative, it's just you're exchanging those kind of ideas, and I don't think that's beneficial either for people.
Yeah, but I mean, to each their own. If you want to be a troll, then be a troll. But I'm gonna call you a troll.
That's it, right? You guys can stay under the bridge.
Right.
Um,
If that's what, I don't want to say makes you happy because you're not happy, but if that's what satisfies your need, if that's what gives you your life, your life's validation, then do you.
Do you? Man, Maddie just showed up. He says, Raw's in Boston. We got it, Maddie. We already got it.
Yeah.
Which,
by the way, I was in Providence, Rhode Island this weekend, right outside of Boston.
Hey.
Big show. Really, really big show.
How was it?
It was so big. They had the signings in like 2 different buildings. So it was weird because we had a section, and like the wrestlers that were there in our section were myself and Katie, Tommy Dreamer, Billy Gunn, and Kelly.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, but also like Chris Jericho was there, and Killer Cross and Scarlett on one of the days, and who else? Dennis Rodman. But anyway, but they were like the fans would tell me like they were in a whole different section, so it was weird, like a different, like they were in like an ice hockey rink, I guess, and you had to go, like downstairs across down this tunnel or whatever to get there. So they had us separated, so we never even saw each other because it was too big and too busy. But this was not a wrestling convention. It was a collectibles with wrestlers there. So there was also a lot of actors, actresses, voice actors, and different celebrities from a lot of different fields in the genre.
Yeah, those are always fun to go to. I know Pittsburgh's having a couple coming up here. Steel City Con, December 6th and 7th. And then Killer Cross will be at that one, I know. And then there's another one, too, like an anime con. And there's a lot of wrestlers showing up to that one later December. So,
yeah, the cons seem like they've always been there. Just the wrestling conventions are kind of newer. Like they did one in LA. What was that, like 98? Somewhere around there. And that was the Kurt Russell con. Not
really?
WrestleCon, but Kurt Russell con.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, that was the first one that I'd ever heard of or been to. And then there was one in Jersey, WrestleCon, where like, whoa, it's like just wrestlers. And then, now it's like every year. And then there's lots of spin-offs. And now it's a thing. But yeah, I feel like for most of my career, it seems like I've been doing conventions, whether they're sporting conventions or, like you said, even anime conventions, whatever. It's porn conventions. It's like people like wrestlers, and they recognize you, even if they're there for something else. It's like, whoa, I didn't know you were going to be here. Or
even if they're there to buy some dildos or something.
Yeah, yeah. Or if your agent was good enough, then they did know you were going to be there because you were advertised. But
yes,
but yeah, weed conventions, anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fascinating thing. I'm happy they have them because it's neat to, for fans get to interact with celebrities, and then at the same time too, you guys make money. So
yeah, and obviously when it's like toy conventions, we're relatable because there's a bunch of toys made of us. So then we're actually the real inspiration for that action figure. So that's cool. We're not just a table of people that are out of place, which, but anyway, yeah, they're fun. I've always enjoyed doing them. When I was really young, in my 20s, I used to, like in Georgia and the Carolinas, 90. So we're talking 93 and 94. I would have to because I was told to, wasn't doing it on my own. But we would, me and Bambi and Chaz Rocco, we would sit at tables at like either Walmart's or Piggly Wiggly grocery store sometimes, and we'd be like in the front of the store at a table, And that is a feeling of being a little out of place. You know what I mean? Like someone's coming through, you know, to get their produce, and then the wrestlers are there, and they'd have us in gear to really get attention, and they didn't know who we were because we weren't stars yet. So we'd have to sell ourselves and sell the show, and listen to them say, "What are you one of those guys that gets thrown around or something? That gets beat all the time?" Like I got asked that so many times when I was a young little Robbie V, because that was the style back then too. You know, there was enhancement matches, so there's usually like one star or two stars against one or two enhancement guys, which were local guys from a local wrestling school that were happy to get the match and be on TV and get the experience. And some of them would go on the road, and they would use them so often that we knew them. You know, there's a bunch of those that we grew up watching and never watched a match, but we'll always remember them. You know, Steve Lombardi was one of them. Actually, so was Lanny Poffo. You know, he was my favorite, but he got until they gave him the genius gimmick, he got beat like every single match. You know.
Yeah. Did you hear that I think in WCW they were going to bring Lanny Poffo in, and he was going to have the old Gorgeous George leg gimmick. Did you ever hear about that?
I remember hearing that they were going to bring him in. They didn't. He didn't come in as one of the random NWO guys.
No, Lanny, no, he didn't.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I remember about the Gorgeous George thing, but I could see him pulling that off for sure.
Yeah, me too. I was like, man, that's a missed opportunity, I think, because he would have been great at that, I think.
Yeah. Louis Spicoli was an NWO guy for a minute.
He was. Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about that?
The very end.
Man, that would have been neat. I mean, I'm glad the way your career took the trajectory it did, but it would have been neat to see if you got into WCW, if they would have put you in the NWO. You would have had a pretty cool element to that. I guess they had 6 for that, X-Pac. So.
True. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like everybody was a member for a while. It started like meaningless, at least to me. Like, okay, wait, Dennis Rodman's he's got an NWO shirt now, and like everybody. It seemed
there was everybody.
Yeah, was Bruce
Booker T wasn't, but Stevie Ray was. It's like that was weird too.
Yeah, after a while, it became something that it meant less because it was taking over, which should make it mean more, but it actually dissipated it, at least from my perspective, because it was hard to keep up with.
It was. Now, what would have been neat is when they did the Wolfpack versus the NWO, and they separated Hogan from Nash. Nash was in the Wolfpack, Hogan was in the NWO, and then they put Scott Hall with the black and white NWO Hollywood. And then they had Conan and Lex Luger and Sting with Nash. But if you were there, you could have been in the black and white part with Hogan and made that aspect a little bit cooler, I think. And that would have been fun. That would have been fun, fancy.
I don't know, but that's not a job I could see me being real passionate about, is writing all these storylines, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's something that takes talent. You do have to know what you're doing. Any writing, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many. I've never been a formula guy, but I am impressed with the educations that formula people have, you know, where they just can look at a story and say, oh, well, okay, but where's your resolution? I see your turning point 3/4 through, and then you know, where's the story arc goes? You know, they have like a pattern of where the arc goes. Okay, we introduce everything, and then we change it up and make you think it's going one way, then somewhere else. Okay, like A, B, C, D, E, and they just have, lather, rinse, and repeat, and they're able to have success with it or fit things into that. That's not necessarily for me, because it's conformity and too much structure. But I am impressed with it when people know their shit.
Me too. I'm like, it takes me a little bit to think about in that form and fashion. I think I'm very, for lack of a better phrase, a basic thinker when it comes to that aspect of it all. But my buddy Robert, who I do the other show with, the Rumor and Innuendo, he's a former WWE writer, and sometimes he'll like say stuff or he'll predict things that could happen on WWE, and he nails it. Like they do that thing, and I'm like, wow, he's really attuned to the formula writing structure of all that.
Right.
It's pretty impressive to see for sure. So, all right, we'll close out with a couple Maddie comments here, and then we'll end the show. So Maddie also
Maddie riddles or comments?
Maddie marijuana. He doesn't. I didn't see any riddles he had yet.
Okay.
So he says, "What do you think of Dom's frog splash? Do you see Dom Mysterio does the frog splash?"
I don't know if I've seen it or not.
Oh, Rob went sideways. Andy's frozen. I wonder if he got a phone call. He might have got a phone call. Oh, Maddie, if that's the case, I will be sure to screenshot your questions here, and we'll get them on Thursday if all else fails. Let me make sure. Rob might come back, but if he doesn't, I am taking pictures of your comments, Maddie, just so you know. You can hear the camera, maybe. Boom. Boom. Yes, Rob might have got a phone call, but he froze on up, and he's sideways. We'll give it a couple more, but I guess in the meantime, if we wait for Rob, do you want to plug RVD420.com? Go there, Greek Glass. You get the exclusive RVD glass. Greek Glass does a wonderful job. They're a big supporter of the show, and I always mean to plug them on the show directly. And so now I can do that. So go to RVD420.com, check it out, get some of that exclusive glass. You'll be very, very happy with the product. What else do I want to plug? Our sponsor this week is Perfect Jean, and you can get quite the pair of Perfect Jeans this autumn. I love Perfect Jeans. This is not a shoot. They are my favorite pair of jeans I own, 100%. Anytime I have an audition or I go on a date or anything special, I wear that pair of Perfect Jeans. Actually, the one day I did go on a date, and I was like, dang it, my Perfect Jeans were in the wash, and I could not wear them. But yes, we have a special code for our listeners. Go to theperfectjean.nyc/RVD15. That's theperfectjean.nyc/RVD15. Use code RVD15. Fuck your khakis and get the perfect jean. So cool. I think what we'll do, we'll just close out the show. So Maddie, I'll be sure to address your questions to Rob on Thursday when we record. So it's not your bad, Maddie. I sent you a late message, so you're okay. Frankie also adds that RVD belonged in ECW. I'm glad he didn't go anywhere. That TV title run was a huge part of wrestling history. It's a great point, Frankie. It really was. I remember being a young kid, probably, me and you are the same age, so 14, 15 when he was doing that title reign, and how special that felt. Because at that time, as you know, any title in wrestling, you were lucky if it lasted like 5 months on a wrestler. And so for Rob to hold that championship for 2 years felt unprecedented. Even though, if you look back at the history, Bruno held the WWF title for 8 years straight, and then another 4 years after that, and Hogan held the WWF title for 4 years. But like for that time and age, the Attitude Era, WWF, ECW, WCW, nobody held a title longer than Rob Van Dam. And that's something really special, I think. So great point. Cool. All right. We're going to close it out. Rob is a busy man. I was, as you could probably notice, at an undisclosed location. So we'll join back on Thursday will be the game plan. But I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. This is a fun little live episode to go. And I always love to hear Rob's perspective. Such a smart dude and such a great dude, as you can tell. So, all right. Looking forward to seeing you guys next time here on One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam. All right. See you guys probably Thursday, which is also known as Trash Night. Guys, enter the room dick first. Big Dick Dudley dick first. Blue Chew isn't just a tablet, it's a cheat code for your crotch. Stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk and a gym membership. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. Guys, this isn't about performance, this is about legacy, or third legacy. Give our group chat something to talk about. You know, when you lay it down, they're talking about how it gets up. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. Free. Just use promo code RVD at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. And big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring One of a Kind with RVD.